Welcome to another installment of Deconstructing Babylon, where we discern the signs and symbols of the mystery religion of Hollywood Babylon. I'm the Discerning Clerk, and I use a biblical framework to deconstruct my favorite movies from the 90s.
Noticed your eyeglasses. They don't have any lenses in them.
They're my dad's. The lenses hurt my eyes.
I recently learned on Instagram that they're remaking today's selection, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. The remake will be straight to streaming, and that makes me both relieved and a bit sad. The future of cinema seems all digital, making it impossible for future generations to own the physical media of the films from their era. On the other hand, I'm not a fan of remakes in general, but especially when the original is good enough to stand on its own, at least in my memory. So it can go straight to streaming. While I'm always going to encourage you to read the Bible from the beginning for yourselves and for your own understanding, I also want to encourage you to own your favorite movies in physical form. Don't rely on streaming services. I get all my movies from local thrift stores, and I've built my entire collection more than once. First on VHS, then on DVD and Blu-ray. If you're already a collector, let me know in the comments how many titles you currently have and which ones you're still looking to add. As you already know, today we're deconstructing the replacement maternal thriller, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, which was released in 1992. The Video Movie Guide gives it 3.5 stars and says this: once you get past the utterly disgusting first 10 minutes, this becomes an effective little suspense tale of a woman who gets revenge for her husband's death by posing as a nanny. Rebecca De Mornay is chilling as the menacing cradle rocker. Rated R. Let's just see what we see in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. The first image is a large white house, then slow, empty interior shots of the family home. A man rides a bike that pulls a wooden trailer past large houses on vast properties until he stops at the White House. Inside, life has sprung forth as Claire Bartell squeezes fresh orange juice with a small fuzzy TV blaring in the background. A TV in the kitchen feels like it belongs in a bygone era. My mother always had a small set in the corner on the counter in the kitchen. Even my grandmother had a black and white set in her carpeted kitchen where she would watch The Gaithers or some other gospel show. Perhaps it's my own nostalgia making another plea for physical media. In the bathroom upstairs, Claire's husband Michael gets ready for the day as their young daughter Emma watches on. The man on the bike knocks on the door a few times. The man is Solomon, and his presence scares Claire at first.
The Better Day Society helps place the mentally disabled with employment.
Solomon is a stark contrast to the virile, powerful son of David, who was the wealthiest king of a united Israel. Side note, because Solomon, the king, had so many wives of other nations, and because he worshipped several other gods besides Yahweh, nearly every secret society and false religion can be traced back to him, including, and especially, the Freemasons. Solomon is there to build a fence for the Bartells, and so his presence becomes a constant in the home and ultimately in the family. Claire goes to a clinic for a pregnancy checkup to see new-to-her physician, Dr. Mott. This man begins a full physical exam on Claire, which isn't just unnecessary, it's entirely inappropriate, especially because he sends the nurse out of the room and proceeds to sexually assault the pregnant woman.
Bartell, we need to schedule your next appointment.
This traumatic event so upsets Claire that she suffers an asthma attack. Once at home, she tells her husband what happened to her.
If we don't report this, he's going to do the same thing to somebody else.
We cut to a solemn scene, an upper room with a view at night, and Dr. Mott watches the news reporting on assault charges brought against him by Claire and several other women. Rather than face the justice system, Dr. Mott takes his own life, as we get a close-up of framed pictures of him and, we can assume, his wife. The grieving widow Mott is also pregnant, and when she meets with a group of lawyers, she learns her husband's vast estate will go back to them, given the criminal charges he was facing. But then she collapses onto her belly. She's rushed to hospital, but it will be too late to save the life growing inside of her.
Got to hold her down.
Let's prep her for surgery. It's gone.
Anesthesia.
6 months later, Solomon is still working at the Bartell home, and Claire has had her baby.
Hi.
my little baby.
At breakfast, Michael and Claire talk about hiring a nanny to help her with the baby they've named Joey. Enter Peyton Flanders. Peyton looks exactly like the grieved Mrs. Mott who lost her husband and baby in a short time. But we mustn't assume anything. Perhaps Mrs. Mott has an identical twin who wants to avenge her sister's death. Either way, she's here, ready to nanny for the Bartells, and the woman she feels is responsible for multiple deaths.
A few years ago, I was pregnant and I lost the baby and my husband within days of each other.
Peyton entreats herself to Claire very quickly, though her mask slips with Solomon, which puts him on edge around her. Peyton asks Claire what Michael does for a living, and her answer surprises me a little.
Michael's a genetic engineer. He works for a research outfit called Biotechnics.
Daddy is a mad scientist.
Clearly, the family are well off, and Michael provides well for them as a genetic engineer. The guy may as well work for Jurassic Park. A quick Google search tells me that a genetic engineer is responsible for altering and modifying genes and genetic code. Anyway, they all love Peyton, so they hire her as their live-in nanny. Like, these people are rich.
This is your room.
Immediately, Peyton does something, well, strange. She sets an alarm for 3 a.m. and proceeds to breastfeed baby Joey while everyone else sleeps. Claire gets ready for a night out with their friends Marty and Marlene. How original. But Peyton sabotages Claire's planned dress, so she has to change it to something less elegant.
Honey, I thought you were going to wear that dress I bought you.
And while the parents are out, Peyton allows young Emma to watch a scary movie with her.
Do you know what a secret is, Emma?
Yeah.
Peyton asks Emma to keep secrets with her, calling it a secret club, and implanting the idea in the girl's mind that her mother can't be trusted. Even their friend Marlene affirms this idea that Claire shouldn't let Peyton replace her in the home or have this much authority.
The hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world.
90s scriptwriters love to embed the title in some dialogue. Part of why the Bartells hired Peyton is because Claire is busy building a greenhouse, and she also volunteers at a commercial nursery, which the two women visit together. Peyton tells Claire that her husband was murdered, which could feel true in her mind. In her twisted thinking, he never would have taken his own life if it weren't for Claire.
But I firmly believe what goes around comes around.
Another way to say that is, you reap what you sow. Perhaps Peyton believes she is an instrument of justice to Claire, and her means are slow and calculated sabotage and deliberate maternal replacement. When Claire gets really anxious, it seems to trigger her asthma. Maybe it's a panic attack, but Peyton takes note of it. Her plans aren't just replacing Claire as a mother, but also as a wife to Michael. She tries to drive a wedge between them, first by breaking trust, then suggestion.
I wouldn't want him to think I was competitive.
Solomon witnesses Peyton breastfeeding the baby, and she threatens him as a result. Perhaps Solomon has more to lose, and he isn't as skilled a manipulator.
My version of the story will be better than yours.
Almost to himself, Solomon vows to protect the Bartells from Peyton's schemes. He loves them, and they love him. They're like family.
It's for you, big guy.
But he can't protect himself from Peyton's false accusations and disturbing suggestions she makes to Claire.
Something about the way he touches her.
Claire broaches the subject vaguely with Emma, and she tells her young daughter that she shouldn't keep secrets.
Secrets between people who love each other aren't good.
To perpetrate her accusations, Peyton plants some of Emma's underwear in Solomon's tool cart for Claire to find. As a result, the Bartells end their working relationship with Solomon, who returns to the Better Day Society. Emma is crushed by this, and she goes to Peyton for comfort and blames her mother for sending Solomon away.
But I don't understand. Why did they take Solomon away?
I guess your mommy didn't like Solomon very much.
Peyton has so entrenched herself in the family, only she can console the baby when he cries. And she continually plants doubt in Claire's mind about the stability of her marriage. The issue is exasperated when Michael lies to Claire about being with their friend Marlene, though they were innocently planning a surprise party for Claire.
Claire, what is this, an interrogation?
Peyton sometimes steals things and plants them in another place to incriminate someone. first with Solomon, now with Michael. She took Marlene's fancy lighter and hid it in Michael's jacket. As if Claire wasn't already suspicious, she confronts Michael about having an affair at the worst possible moment.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Claire is feeling the negative effects of everything Peyton has done to her. She tells Michael she wants some time and space away from Peyton. Michael challenges her a bit, and Peyton overhears everything they say on the baby monitor, so she escalates her plans.
So many things have gone wrong since she's been here.
Marlene gets suspicious of Peyton, never really trusting her. Her real estate firm has the listing for the deceased Dr. Mott, and she goes to the library to investigate further. She finds a picture of Dr. Mott's widow at the funeral, and the woman is very familiar.
I need a doctor. Know of any, Mrs. Mott?
Peyton sends Marlene out to the greenhouse where she set a booby trap. Glass shatters on top of her, and Peyton casually eats an apple. I have to think the apple is another symbol of sin, rebellion, or disobedience. Not because the tree of knowledge of good and evil grew apples, but because that's what people think it was. Certainly, Hollywood Babylonians think it was an apple that Adam's wife ate. The mirror is another symbol Hollywood uses to show the inner man, or the duality of a person. Here, Peyton smiles menacingly as she empties Claire's asthma inhaler. Claire comes home to find the gruesome scene in the greenhouse, which triggers her anxiety. She reaches for every inhaler in the home, and they're all empty. Claire manages to call emergency services before she collapses, and they shockingly respond despite not having any information about the emergency.
You're safe now. You're in a hospital.
Solomon stands vigil outside Claire's hospital room until she's released, and then follows the family back home. Even though Claire almost died, not much has changed at home, other than Peyton working that much harder to take Claire's place in the family. Claire quietly looks into what Marlene wanted to tell her so urgently before she died.
What was she doing before she left?
Claire finds the Mott listing, and she goes to the house that belonged to the doctor that assaulted her.
Would you care to take a look inside?
Yeah.
Claire finally realizes the woman she's let into her home is, in fact, Dr. Mott's widow, and the confrontation with Peyton turns physical.
She's Dr. Mott's widow, Michael.
The Bartells stand united against the nanny, and they tell her to leave.
I'll just get my baby and we'll be on our way.
Peyton leaves peacefully, but returns with a vengeance. I mean, we still have to have the final showdown.
It's my family.
But the Bartells are not divided, and even though Claire and Michael are both incapacitated, Emma protects herself and her baby brother.
Emma? You're being very bad, Emma.
Solomon steps in to save the family under attack. Peyton is relentless, and she's clearly lost her mind. The last fight happens in the attic of the house, a room we've never even seen until now. Claire ends it all by pushing Peyton out the window, and she's impaled by the white picket fence Solomon worked so hard to build.
I trust you, Solomon.
The family is safe, and the final image is the big white house, the same as the beginning. Well, this might be the first movie I've deconstructed that didn't pay homage to the Freemasons. Just kidding. Of course it did. Other than a lovable character named Solomon, I noticed several things in the White House itself. Mainly in the kitchen, which seemed to have the only color and character in the home. Particularly a checkerboard floor and a brick wall. Both signs pointing to a Freemason temple. Additionally, the address of the house is 808. Now, I don't get into gematria or numerology very much on this channel, just because there are creators out there who are far more knowledgeable on the subject. But 88 is very suspicious. Double numbers are fascinating, first of all, that the secret societies love to use often. But the 88 can represent a few things. The analemma of the sun and moon, the double infinity signs, and the dual Ouroboros, the snake or dragon eating its tail. The house here very much felt like its own character in this movie and certainly provided a lot of symbolism. Additionally, the Bartells themselves were symbolic. Well, at least their name is. We know El is the Hebrew word for God, and bar means son, so they are sons of God. Combine that with Michael's name, which also has the EL, and is the name of one of a few named angels in the Bible, meaning who is like God. Neither of these two claim a faith in this movie, it's just a symbol. Now, usually when I observe a clear villain in a film, I see that person as a counterfeit symbol of the Most High, because the enemy loves to villainize Yahweh. That's not what I saw here in Peyton. She was outright the villain and had clear psychosis with a real intent to harm the Bartell family. Her loss doesn't excuse her choices, it skewed her thinking. I've been told before that there is no wrong way to grieve, but this is it. This was wrong. A few times I was reminded of the story in Genesis of Sarah and Hagar, her maidservant. Sarah was barren and so gave Hagar to her husband Abraham to have his baby. Hagar birthed Ishmael, and then the mother and son were both put out of the camp and the family by Sarah herself, once she had Isaac. Sarah was jealous of Hagar, of her ability to have a baby and give Abraham an heir. She didn't appreciate the attention and care Hagar got as a result, and just cast her away when Sarah got what she always desired. So it could be a counterfeit story of these two women, Peyton like Sarah and Claire like Hagar. One thing I will say about it is that it certainly valued motherhood as an important role, not just for the family, but for society. Marlene's comment is true. The hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Mothers are incredibly important, and the role ought to be valued, just not overvalued. So that's all for this one. Thank you for enduring to the end. Give the video a thumbs up if you agree and a thumbs down if you disagree. Comment below what you think I missed with this one and to suggest any 90s title you'd like me to deconstruct in the future. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this, but don't follow me. Follow the one who saves you. And until next time, keep looking up.
Do you want the fist to keep people in or keep people out?